Hey folks, I'm Neil Zloz Hour. You're at my studio in Hollywood with my good friends, Nylon Pink. Get ready for another underground cut of the Zloz Hour. Folks, welcome back. Where's the mic? Okay. Folks, welcome back to the Zloz Hour. You've been here before, and I'm sure we'll see you again. My beautiful white co-host, Sandy Martin. And we have a special guest for you folks today. Look who just walked in the front door. Mr. Guitar Extraordinaire, Mr. Steve Vai.
Thank you very much, but there's nothing extraordinary about me sitting next to you, Neil.
Well, I don't know about that. But, so what's up, darling? Thanks for coming to the Zloz Hour. You finally made it. We've been waiting for about 3 months.
Well, I'm very happy to be here. You know, I mean, I knew as soon as you told me you were doing something, I knew it was going to be a hoot.
Yeah, it is a hoot.
It's Zloz Hour. So.
It's the Zloz Hour.
I like the Zloz Hour, too.
Yeah,
it's very
Zloz
clever.
Hour. Well, I thought of it myself. It was a real... I spent years thinking of it. So what's going on? What are you
everything.
doing? Besides you're leaving for Romania on Saturday,
yes,
you were just saying.
Romania. Well, I had it very interesting. You know, I do. You know, my music is a particular type of music, but I also do compositional stuff.
Right.
And I did this project with the Dutch Symphony, and we performed that, and then I went right out to Experience Hendrix tour.
You were on that?
Yeah.
With Joe?
No, Joe did it last year, March.
I thought he does it every year.
No. A couple of the guys do it every year, but they've been asking me to do it for like 10 years.
Right.
You know, and
Who asked you? Who sets that up?
John McDermott. You know, he works with Jimi Hendrix on the estate.
Right.
You know, they got a very tight, good company there. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they do amazing things with all the Hendrix stuff. So they've been doing this tour for about 10 years.
Right.
And it's great. You know, you get to go out there and you play Jimmy's music. And I was hesitant to do it for years because I didn't know how I'd fit in because, you know, I don't really play blues and I'm not really sort of left of center.
Yeah.
You know, but it worked out great, man. There's so many great players. It was such a good show.
Right. Who else was on this tour? I remember last year, I think it was Mitch Mitchell who died on tour.
He wasn't there.
Yeah. And Noel's gone. And
yeah.
They're all hanging up there somewhere.
Well, Billy Cox.
Billy Cox, great, yeah. Band of Gypsies.
Yeah. Ernie Isley.
Love Ernie Isley.
Really amazed me, you know, how well
he's great.
Yeah, really good.
You ever listen to the Fight the Power album by the Isley Brothers?
Yeah.
That side one's great.
Yeah.
Fight the Power.
You must have a bootleg of it too.
No, I don't have any Isley bootlegs. I got a lot of Hendrix bootlegs, though, as you know.
There's somebody that you don't have a bootleg for?
Yeah, I only have one Isley album, Fight the Power, but that's a great one. Ernie Isley plays great.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
there was a lot of great players, and people would come and go, but I think that the people that really blew me away were like Johnny Lang.
Johnny Lang.
Man, you know, I actually bought his records when he started releasing records, but man, that guy, the way he sings, just really great.
I saw him once at House of Blues, and he must have been sick or something because he lost his voice after about the third song.
Oh, really?
But the funny thing is, like when Kenny Wayne Shepherd came out of the chute, let's say when he was 18 years old, it was like. And Johnny Lang, I think, came right after Kenny Wayne, if I'm not mistaken. But those guys were like big, big group.
Yeah, they kind of lead parallel lives.
Yeah, but they sort of, you don't hear really that much about them anymore, unfortunately, because they are, both talented people. You know?
Well, the thing is a lot of times, when you have a hit record at the beginning and your music is, the big popularity is based on hit songs.
Right.
Artists sometimes artists that do hit music, they have to have hit after hit.
Right.
But if they don't necessarily have big radio hits, it doesn't mean they're still not doing great things. I mean, you mentioned Kenny. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was out on like the first G3 tour for a couple of shows, and he was pretty good.
That was the first, yeah. It was Eric Johnson.
Yeah, he did some of the shows, but then on this Hendrix tour, man, the guy, he's amazing.
Right. Well, he's great. Plays a Strat too.
Yeah, and then, that whole kind of thing, they really own it.
Right.
He kind of does Stevie Ray doing Jimmy.
Right.
But he does it so well.
Well, I forgot, we were talking about Zakk Wylde. Zakk was on here last week, and we were talking about Jimmy and the Clones. There was Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush, and there was Robin Trower, and then Stevie Ray Vaughan a little bit. I mean, they all have their own unique style, you know. So
yeah, I mean that's the great thing about being influenced by somebody and then take it. When I was listening to all that stuff, I mean, for me it was Jimmy Page,
right?
Hendrix, Brian May, Richie Blackmore. Man, I mean, I loved playing that stuff, but whenever I would go to do my own stuff, I purposely.
Well, yeah, I guess you had your influences, but I mean, I got my photographic influences, but I don't copy them. Their lighting, I try to.
You get inspired by them.
Well, you got to have some inspiration. Let's tell the story, because this is a good one, the first time I ever really heard of you. So well, I'll just keep them nameless right now, because we used to be good friends. We aren't anymore. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but me. So a friend of mine calls me up. Hey, Neil, you want to go see Alcatraz? I'm like, where are they playing? He goes, they're playing in Long Beach. I go, well, Yngwie's not in the band anymore. Why would I want to go see Alcatraz without Yngwie in the band? I go, I hear they got some new kids, Steve Vai. I go, and I said to my friend, is he any good? He goes, well, yeah, he's really good. I go, well, it can't be as good as Yngwie. And then, so then I didn't see you for about a year or so. And then the first time we worked together was probably in this room where we're sitting now, 1986. David Lee Roth band.
Yeah, boy.
Eat 'em and Smile.
Working together for a long time. I mean, it moved so quick for me, really.
Well,
I was 18 when I started working for Frank Zappa. I moved out here on a day after my 20th birthday. Right. And then, next thing you know, I'm with Frank, and then I'm with Alcatraz, and next thing you know, I'm shooting in this studio with you, which was just it was surreal to me.
And David Lee Roth.
And Dave Roth.
And Billy Sheehan. And Greg Bissonette. I mean,
that was amazing. You remember when Dave left Van Halen and he was looking for a guitar player? I mean, it was the most coveted guitar place. And I just kind of next thing you know, I was in the band.
Well, the funny thing is, Eat 'em and Smile came out. I mean, like I said, you and Alcatraz, and, I did a lot of work with Frank. I mean, I got tons of photos of him, but I never really listened to that music. It was, it was pretty out there. Even today, I liked Willie the Pimp. That was a good song.
How unlike you.
I'm a little pimp with my hair greased back.
He likes Catholic girls, too.
Yeah, I like all girls. So.
Jewish princess.
No, you know me, my preference.
Cruise Slut. That's his favorite Zappa song.
Cruise Slut. I forgot about that one. So, but
Frank has a song I think you'd like very much. It's called "I Promise Not to Come in Your Mouth."
Maybe I got to reinvent myself and listen to old Frank Zappa. I mean, there are bands like Stevie Ray Vaughan. I never shot him. I think to this day own one Stevie Ray Vaughan album. I just missed that whole boat. Yeah, I just went over my head. I just somehow.
That happens to me sometime, and it's really nice when you rediscover. I was watching a biography on TV about Rush. Yeah. And I was never a big Rush fan when I was younger.
Thank you.
Yeah, because there was, there was just something about it, that either you get it or you don't. Right. And I didn't get it, but I was watching this and then listening to some of the songs that I really liked, and I went out and bought some of their records, their early stuff, and
Tom Sawyer.
Yeah. Well, see, I hate Tom Sawyer, but I like Working Man. That's a great song, the Working, but that's, I think, their very first album. I think Neil Peart was not in the band when they did that.
The very first album, Working Man,
Yeah, but that's more, but see, the problem with me and Rush is, you need a college UCLA degree to listen to them. When you listen to Tom Sawyer, I just don't get it. I don't know.
It's such a specific sound, though. You have to, it's almost like a food. You know, some people like sushi or they don't. It's a specific type of thing.
See, I like things more like, give me AC/DC, Bon Scott, where you don't, anybody.
Balls.
Or, well, I don't know about that.
I like that one
Who told you?
I know.
But like, or you played with David Coverdale, another band. You were in Whitesnake, one of the all-time great vocalists. I mean, you don't get better, but you listen to a song like "Slide It In" or whatever, and you know what he's talking about. You don't have to. Well, let's see. I better go back to school to figure out what he's trying to talk about. Slide it in.
Yeah, but the way people perceive music is on different levels.
Right.
So when I'm listening to Rush, or when I'm listening to progressive rock bands that I like, I'm not being fascinated by their technical expertise, because to me, I can hear when somebody's putting that on.
Right.
And it sounds like they're trying too hard.
Well, yeah,
But you
Wouldn't
can
it be
hear
sad if everyone had the same taste in music?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So
there would be
everybody
bored.
likes
The Earth
something
would be a
different.
boring place. Everybody drove the same
yeah,
car.
but you got to find what resonates with you,
Right.
and that's one of the great things about music. I mean, there's all different, I mean, I went from Zappa to Alcatraz to David Lee Roth to Whitesnake to my solo music, and not one of those would fit in any of the others' pocket.
Category, yeah.
But I enjoyed it all,
Well, how did you get the job with Frank Zappa? How did that come about? I'm curious how. I mean, you were pretty, you weren't a common household name like you are now.
Yeah, well,
He was good.
It's good, yeah.
Well, yeah, but so how did you get the gig with Frank?
I was a young kid and I loved his music, and I got his phone number from a friend of mine.
Right.
That stole it from a Rolodex from a studio in New York.
Were they up there on Laurel Canyon still back then?
No, I was living in New York.
You were, but you stole the phone number. Where was
I
he?
live in
Where they live, where Gail is now,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. They've been
So
there.
I tried calling like once a year,
Right.
because I was so shy, painfully shy. And finally, once I got a hold of him. And every time I called, I got a hold of Gail, and she was very nice, and she said, "He's on tour, call back." Which was, when I think about it now, why would anybody, take a phone call?
You're right.
Right.
So eventually, Frank picked up the phone, and he was in a really good mood. And I was going to Berkeley at the time, and I sent him some stuff, and transcriptions and my playing and everything, and he hired me to transcribe music.
Right.
So I was 18 and I was listening to his music and writing it down.
Right, and if you could do that, I mean,
Yeah, I knew music.
Right.
And when I told, he wanted to try me out for the band, but when I told him I was 18, he said, "Forget it."
Right.
And I said, "Oh no, forget nothing." And I moved out here.
Right.
And I was 20, and I just started going up to the house, and
What year
the
is this?
auditions were it was like a constant audition.
What year is this?
1980.
Okay.
A long time ago.
So
How
you
old
kept-
were you? To 20?
I was 20.
So you were watching these other people audition, knowing that there would be a point where you would have your shot.
Well, no, I was, he would have me do these impossible things. And it was part of the audition.
The
And then
test.
finally,
He was testing
Frank
you.
was so funny, man. He was just amazing, the things as the things he said and the things he did. And I could just tell you so many great stories, but finally when he said, "Come on down to rehearsal,"
Right.
he gave me a list of songs to learn, and I learned them, and I got there, and he didn't call any of them. He called other songs.
Right.
And I was just like, like a deer in headlights,
Right.
And Frank will pick up his guitar, and he's not, he has a very visceral kind of a approach to playing. But when he's teaching songs, he'll like cryptically play through something, and then say, "Okay, now play it, this fast, So he played this long kind of a line, and he goes, "Okay, now play it at this tempo." So, okay, and I thought about it, and I played it. And then he goes, "Okay, now add this note." And I looked at, he goes, "Add this riff," and I looked and I thought, okay, and I played it, and then he goes, "Okay, now play it in 7/8. So I thought for a minute, and I said, "Okay," and I played it in 7/8, and then he goes, "Okay, play it 7/8 reggae."
Wow.
And I'm just like, I didn't know he was taking the piss out of me, I'm just like, okay, and I play it, right? And then he goes, "Okay, now add this," and he played something that was just impossible. Nobody could do it.
Right.
And I thought for a minute, and I said, "That's impossible." And he said, "Well, I hear Linda Ronstadt is looking for a guitar player." That's Frank. But he gave me the gig.
So he was just kidding with you.
Of course, that was Frank.
Funny story. He had a guy named Marvin. Didn't he have Marvin working with him?
Not when I was there.
I think the guy passed away anyway. But I did some work with Frank, and when Frank wanted to see the photos, and I took him the photos one day, and he was looking at him. he looks at me and goes, Neil, every single one of these photos is out of focus. I'm like, what? What are you talking about, Frank? But yeah, but he was serious though. So anyway, but I wonder if I have you in any shots. I think I shot him once at UCLA. He played a gig at UCLA.
We came here, I think.
No, I never shot you with Frank here.
Then it was somebody else.
Well, you've been here how many times in the last 20
I would have
years?
remembered if it was here. I just remember.
No, I'm talking about live gigs. But I think he had a black guy playing guitar.
You might have. I started touring with him in '80.
Well, I think I shot him in 80 or 81 or 82.
I toured with him 80, 81, and 82.
Okay, well, I'll have to go look at those photos and see if I see you in the background anywhere. Probably wouldn't recognize you, though.
I was just like this little puppy.
That's okay. Well, you still are a little puppy.
Like,
Steve, how old were you when you first started playing the guitar?
I
know you paid $5 for your first one.
Yeah.
No strings.
She does
on
her
it.
homework. She
I do my
studies.
research. But
I don't.
It's
She
a great
does.
story, though. How old were you?
I was 13.
13.
Yeah.
And you actually were
You
taught
started late then,
by
right?
Joe.
Yeah, Joe. I
Satriani.
mean, you know, I come from this little town in Long Island called Carl Place. It's not even considered a town. It's called a hamlet. And, you know, my friend who lived 2 doors away hit me to all this incredible music, you know, like Yes, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and Queen, and Jethro Tull. And he could play the guitar, and I was just stunned that he could actually pick up the, you know, it's like, oh my God.
Prior to him, were you interested at all, or was it something that you saw?
The moment I set eyes on a guitar for the first time, I was in 2nd grade, and this kid came in, and he was in 3rd grade, and he played, and that was it. It was a love affair. I just, every time I looked at a guitar, I felt this like inner, like almost like a tremble, you know, like an excitement. You know, you ever see the Sears catalog that your mother used to get?
Yeah.
Well, there was always one page that had like pictures of those cheap guitars
with the amplifier in the case.
And I'd look at that like it was porn.
Right. Silver tones, weren't they?
Yeah, there was a couple of different models. There was Tesco Del Rey's and all
right,
these.
But
anyway, I got these. You know, I mean, I always had that bug. But when I saw my friend playing, and you must be the best guitar player in town. He said, well, you should see my guitar teacher, Joe Satriani. And I got Joe's number, and I got a guitar, and I never told anybody I played because I was always too shy about that.
Yeah.
And I started going to lessons, and it was.
How was
he
that
a
being
mentor.
taught by him?
He was always great.
Was Joe back in New York back then?
Yeah, he was like, I think I was 13, he was probably 17, 16, 17.
How does someone, because he's so quick on his fingers, like back then, was he
He
slow enough to?
He was always great. No, he was a teacher, and he could play anything. And even at 17, the thing that was so amazing about Joe was whenever he touched the instrument, music came out. You know, not just like riffs or shit like that. You know, I mean, it sounded great. So he was like a mentor. I mean, my lessons were just like, you know, the holy grail.
What was one of the things, as far as him teaching you, that you think has affected your life? I mean, what were some of the things he would give you other than the basic chords?
Well, you see, I knew music. I was composing music before I was playing the guitar.
Did you go to music school?
I had a really incredible music teacher in high school. Mm-hmm. He was like a taskmaster. Okay. And he taught me music theory, and my assignment every day since 9th grade was to compose a piece of music every day. And not just like, you know, write a melody and chord changes. I had to write something that he was going to read, and then we'd orchestrate it for, like, you know, members of the orchestra and whatnot. You know, at the same time, I'm listening to Led Zeppelin at home, you know?
Right.
And so when I started playing the guitar, I never really made the correlation between the music I was learning and how to apply it to the instrument.
Right.
And Joe, he had the same music teacher. So he helped me do all that.
The funny thing is, I think I've been asking you to come on this show for about 3 or 4 months, but I'm surprised you actually made it.
3 months.
Well, he was one of the first people I wanted to get. I finally got him, but anyway, but this guy is constantly working 28 hours a day, 9 days a week. I mean, every time you go, he's always busy working, writing, playing, composing.
Is that what it's about?
Well, yeah, some musicians, like, they make an album, they go on tour, and then they get off, and they're home for 3 months, and they're all, you know, sitting here like this, and they don't know what to do.
The interesting thing to me is they turn out a lot more product than me. What up with that?
I don't know. Well, they, like Led Zeppelin, they go back and they get all the rehash songs like Coda and put an album together with all the garbage.
I've got plenty of those, but...
But then again, another thing I want to thank you because I owe it to you, but you know, you wrote the intro for my 6-String Heroes book. And like I tell people, that book was your idea. So, because we were sitting here one day up in my office looking at the fuck you photos, and you were like, Neil, why don't you do a guitar book? And I was like, you know, I said, I don't want to do, here's a Zakk Wylde, and here's a Jimmy Page, and here's a Steve Vai, and here's a Slash, and here's a, you know, whatever. But you're like, no, you don't have to do it. Take the 10 guitarists you worked the closest with. And so even though the book was your idea, I said, I'll tell you what, I'll do the book if you write the intro for it, which he did. And the intro's brilliant. And then one day, you know, before I saw the intro, he calls me up one day, hey, Neil, who are those 2 tattoos on your, you know, arm?
Yeah, that was a shocker for me.
Well, I didn't, yeah, but
I want to tell you something about Neil. I've known you how long now?
Do I want to hear this?
Yes, you do.
You've known me since '86.
To know this guy and to work with him is to just know a whole dimension of a person that's so different than anybody you've ever met. I mean, you know.
Hopefully that's good.
That's very good. He's rock and roll to the bone. He tells you exactly what's on his mind. There's like no governor.
Right. Yeah. No stop valves, I think you said.
He tells you exactly what he thinks, whether you're going to like it or not. Mm-hmm. And I love that. But I got to tell you something. Inside of all that, hardcover, there's really a sweetie. Yeah. There's a softie in there. There is. He's considerate.
Oh, I'm turning red.
You know, it's true. You are. And when I saw those tattoos.
And we got Buddha. We got Dalai Lama here.
Because when I moved out to California, you know, I was on a quest, a spiritual search, you know, to find things that worked for me, you know, whatever. I was one of those people. And I discovered the Bodhi Tree here in Hollywood, which is a great metaphysical bookstore.
That's a great bookstore.
So I go to the Bodhi Tree, which is this amazing metaphysical bookstore where they have all the books on, you know, every kind of spiritual teaching, religion, New Age, everything, you know. Right. And it was like a jackpot for a guy like me at the time. And I read a lot about Buddhism. Mm-hmm. I actually spent time in a Buddhist monastery, you know. Wow. And
in where? Tibet?
Mount Shasta.
Oh, Mount Shasta.
Yeah, at the base of the mountain.
Okay.
To think that Neil Zloz Hour would be interested in that kind of thing would have been just totally alien to me. So when I saw these tattoos, I'm like, what up? Yeah. And sure enough, you know, you can talk about your interests there.
But, you know, 10 years ago, I would have made fun of these people.
You still make fun of them.
Well, not really. I mean,
with love.
You know, someone sent me this email, and I was in a bad mood. I think I was going through my breakup with my Thailand chick. And,
oh, boy, I remember that.
Someone, well, who doesn't that, Jose? So someone sent me an email. These are the Dalai Lama's predictions for 2006 or 2005. Read these, get rid of them right away. Dalai Lama, who the fuck's Dalai Lama? And then they had a picture. This is one of those guys at the airport that comes up to you and begs you for money. Okay, let's see what this guy's got to say. You know, remember the 3 R's: respect yourself, respect others, and you know, take whatever for your actions. Take responsibility for it. But the best. Everybody should remember this. Sometimes not getting what you want is a wonderful stroke of luck. You know, you want these new shoes, you want a Ferrari, whatever. Sometimes not getting that's the best thing. Man. So I could only look at my girlfriend in Thailand and think by me not getting her, I just, you know, so that's what
see, we find what's right when the time is right.
Yeah. So now I'm pretty heavy into this stuff. And
you know, what I noticed from going to the Bodhi Tree and reading everything on everything is there's just a couple of fundamental principles and truths that run through all of them.
Right.
And they're the same.
Through all religions.
Right. And they're all the same. Right. But you know, it's what people do to them with them and how they get, you know, fanaticized and all this stuff. But so I was very happy to
so much. Well, you know, I was just looking at these. I was at my condo meeting Monday night, about to lose my mind. I've been president of my condo association.
You're president of the condo
since 1988. I got to go to these meetings.
Wait, not only is he president, but what's cute about what you were saying is the sweet inside. Somebody calls him to fix a light, an 80-year-old woman. He's up there immediately. Someone calls him for this.
He's like
He's
that.
all over the place.
He's
he
totally
never says
responsive.
No.
He's detail-oriented like few people, and that's why he's been so successful.
Well, I've been doing this 41 years.
He's concerned
and
about
he never
everything.
Lies.
But
no, he doesn't.
Well,
no,
maybe
no, you don't.
I may mistell things a little bit.
But it's a great energy. It's a great, especially
I got energy.
Buzz on, boy.
But I just want to say, I was at the condo meeting Monday night, and I was losing my patience really big time. I was like, I'm gonna kill someone. I started,
That's what
okay,
he
guys, and I was all mellow after and calming
Yeah, well,
down.
there you go.
So
Yeah,
now,
right there.
I want to say one thing. We're gonna close this up because your beautiful wife Pia, who I've known forever, who used to be in Vixen. Remember?
Right.
Can we show a photo of Pia in Vixen?
We certainly
Okay,
can.
we're gonna flash a photo of you when you were in Vixen.
Remind me to send it to you.
I got him here. I shot her in the band.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she had pink hair, I think, back then. So, but my last question to you is, were my sweaty balls really hanging out of my short pants when we were in that alley?
Absolutely,
Okay.
unequivocally,
What?
swinging out in the old alley there.
Yeah, I remember off Melrose.
That's all you wore with these little shorts
Well,
He still has
and
those
big
three
motorcycle
ones.
boots.
Well, no, but you know what? They were sort of normal, and then my kids, Zach
Are you
Zloz.
embarrassed that I said
No,
that?
I loved it. I thought I was laughing, but my kids like, Dad, you gotta get rid of those shorts. Dad, you're wearing those. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like gym trunks that you wear when you're, working at. So what I do to my kid, I take them and I go like this, and they're like, you here. So I'd pull them all the way up to here, like the old Jewish man thing. Like, I'd be like this, and I'd pull them like all the way up
visual, I
here.
can live with that,
They'd
yeah.
go, and you know what? He'd get mad at me when I do. He wouldn't be laughing.
He was
would-
embarrassed.
He would like get mad at me.
Embarrassed. You don't want to see your father's sweaty balls.
Well, I
hanging
don't
out.
know, but anyway. So,
Steve,
thanks for coming down here.
Anytime.
Yes.
anything
Always a
you need.
pleasure.
you.
Pleasure knowing you. Pleasure
Awesome.
working
Thank you
with
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Pleasure
Great.
listening to your guitar playing, and thanks
Well,
for
Neil,
coming.
it's been a real, pleasure to know you all these
Good.
years, and I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
knowing
I
you
ain't
forever.
done yet. I'm still
No, he
doing
still
this.
does. He
Yes.
still calls me for photo shoots, and whenever
That's
he
right.
calls me for a photo shoot, I think to myself, okay, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, we did the one at your
That's
house
right.
not too long ago.
Yeah.
For Ibanez, they called me to do a shoot.
Because that's all I told him I would work.
Well, that's cool. Good.
And if you don't have the record, go out and get it.
Yeah, do you have
Where
a
the wild
website?
things
Let's
are.
plug the website.
Yes.
Is it?
Vi.com.
That's hard to remember. And in case you can't spell, it's vai.com.
Yes.
Com, C-O-M. So,
Yes.
anyway,
Thanks so much, Neil.
thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, bro.
Thank
Appreciate it. And there you go, Mr. Steve I on the Zloz Hour. Adios.
Adios.
Okay. That
I
was
love
great.
that, the Zloz Hour.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
perfect.